Hello, I'm Mike Jones, and I'm joined by Dale Matthews.
Uh, Yeah, hi, I'm that goofy Dale Matthews guy.
Right, right. See, everything for me is backwards today because this monitor, to me, it looks like it's on my right side, and that one looks like it's on my left side. When you look into a TV camera and you try to comb your hair, it's very odd because when you see the TV camera image, it's the way others see you. Now,
Uh,
I've always thought that I parted my hair on the left. No, I don't. But
yes.
it looks to me when I look in a mirror that I part my hair on the left. But I am looking at a backwards image right now. So over here it
Right.
says CBB out. Out is okay because that's the way Canadians pronounce out. But I didn't know they spell it OWT.
Yes. Yes.
Out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is weird. It is a little weird, and it's odd because okay, now see this is the left side of my head, but as I'm looking at it in the monitor, it's all very confusing because we're looking at reverse images, and it's kind of goofy.
Well, we're used to
Whatever.
looking at
Too
reverse
much
images.
inside.
We're used
Yes.
to looking at reverse images, and I'm looking at one now. I feel oddly comforted by this. I'm so easily comforted, really. But in your world, in your misperceived world of me, I part my hair on the right side. No, I don't. I part it on the left side.
Yes.
Whatever.
Wow.
Okay,
Hey,
well,
yeah,
thanks for
hey,
joining
hey,
us
all right.
tonight.
Let's edit out the first 5 minutes of this show
No,
and just put
no,
it in
we're
the trash
okay.
can.
No, we can talk and joke with our loyal viewers, and those of you who are not
Mhm.
loyal, get out of here. Okay, so
Yeah, well, they left a couple of minutes ago.
this is Thursday, and Thursday is arguably, with the commissioners, the most important day of the week. It is when they had their administration meeting, and all the real action takes place on Thursdays. But I'm going to start with the second meeting that they don't always have on Thursdays, but they also have something called a general discussion, and that takes place at 2 o'clock on Thursdays, just in case you're setting your watch. And I go to all these meetings. Now, the first meeting took about 2.5 hours, and the second meeting took about 2 hours. So I'm the only one sitting in the audience during the second meeting, and they treat me really bad. But okay, whatever. See, when I'm there, you're there, and we can all see what they do. And they often, I don't know why, they often forget that I'm there with the camera. And they say sometimes the craziest things or real things the way they really feel, and you get a chance to see this. And it's only because you're there sitting right there with me from the convenience of your home. That's nice. Okay. And then we cut out 2 hours and 22 minutes and we just play you just a few of the minutes. Okay. So one of the things that I thought,
Hmm.
these are small things that add up over a period of time. We've talked a lot about ISF. Now, I try to remember that stands for Internal Services Fund, and Mike tries to remember that too. The thing is that Internal Services Fund is this 10% that they skim off the top of all the money that comes into the various departments. This is one of the main reasons, one of the three main reasons why people don't want to vote for a levy, because they don't want the commissioners skimming off 10% of every dime that's supposed to go toward the sheriff's department. It's an emergency, right? Oh, it's an emergency, and the governor may come down here, the new governor, and take over everything. Or maybe the UN will show up and take over everything because somehow now. Okay, anyway, um, the ISF is one of the stumbling blocks in this because I don't want the commissioners to get 10%. I don't want them to get 10 cents because I watch how they do things. And you already know, I mean, I can tick these reasons off, but there are probably reasons that do tick you off when you see, oh boy, this is repartee all by myself. And you see how they actually spend the money like they were going to do with the Mark Von Holly contract, and they may go ahead and do that. Oh, that's not over. They may go right ahead and continue. Go ahead, Mike.
No, no, nothing. No, it's just enjoying your repartee, as it were.
Yes, with myself. Woo! Okay, so look, here's the thing. They talked more. Oh, we're definitely going to make a video of this for you. They did a lot of talking about the ISF today. Isn't that interesting? Because they don't want to talk about the ISF. They'll talk about anything other than the ISF. Mike and I went to the SOS Cuffs, whatever they're calling themselves this week, meeting, and they didn't even mention ISF. Right? So somebody, well, what about this 10%? They didn't even say ISF. What about this 10%? Well, that's really not much of anything. Next question. Hey, this is one of the main reasons that people are, one of the three main reasons that people may not vote for this. Oh, well, we just don't have enough time to talk about that.
Well, and which is why they're beginning to address it more and more in debate about the levy. On KJO today, they dedicated, probably 5 minutes to talking about the ISF
But it means nothing because it means nothing. Why are you talking about it, guys?
yeah, well, no, they understand that it is a stumbling block for people, and this is why they're trying to address it now. But in the way that they address it, they would have you believe that you absolutely have to have this 10%. This 10% is actually a discount from what it would actually cost that department to administrate themselves.
And this 10% is absolutely required by law. Why, we could all be carried away in cuffs if we don't do this. Cuffs, yes. Cuffs, that's what it stands for.
Yes. I'm just having a hard time swallowing their story because I know that if I handle something in house, that's going to cost me less than if I have to. Okay, let's say I need something that is not the normal part of the budget. I have to go to these people now. If I go to these people, they're also going to be able to approve or disapprove of whatever I am requesting. The whole thing doesn't make any sense at all, and
we didn't used to do it that way. Okay, were we always breaking the law before? No. Other counties don't do it that way. Are they all breaking the law? No. Other states don't do it that way. Are they all lawbreakers? No. If there's a decision to be made about who's the lawbreaker, I would suggest you start inside the Ann Basker Auditorium. Even Keith Heck has said, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. Well, there's your answer. Okay, all right, so what they were doing is they were talking about the ISF today, and Arthur O'Hare, he's the finance director, is telling them that, that when you're a department head, like the sheriff, you can buy things up to $5,000 without even coming to the commissioners for this. And I'm thinking, now, wait a minute. Let's suppose that you've got somebody, they're always talking about things like toner and paper, but let's also talk about services, like services from the IT department or services from the finance department, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, you've got someone that's making $60,000 a year, and you think that you are going to use of their services in one of the various departments $5,000 worth of their services in 1 year? You might, but that's a lot of work. That's what, 1/12 of their work. You would need to have them for a solid month out of the 12 months in order to be able to use that much services. And you can get those services without asking anyone's permission. You just say, I want those services. So here's my thing. If that's the case, why are you taking any money out of the sheriff's department when all they need to do is, if they decided to use it as they need it? We're going to buy toner today because we need toner today, and you buy it from like the company store. The discounts that you get through the county, you get a discount for the finance service guy. You get a discount for buying the computer through the county. Then you buy only what you need. And since we just elected the sheriff, if we believe the sheriff or anybody that we elect, we'd hope that we believe the people we're electing. How's that been working out for you so far? Then what we do is we say, okay, you make the decisions about what you need. Why would you hand it over to somebody in some other department?
Yeah, and I'm having a hard time believing that a greater cost is incurred to that department if they don't give their money to this other department over here to
Yes.
handle all their business for them. And
Yes.
I just don't get that. And then they said something else about the ISF today, that they weren't going to be able to perform certain services in the commissioner's office because there wasn't enough ISF money. And I thought, when you told me that, I thought, well, wait a minute. I thought this ISF money was just kind of being held in trust so that the commissioners could help administrate whatever this stuff is needed for that department.
Okay, now here's the video of the smoking gun. We've shot the video, and I'm using an analogy here. Here's the video of the smoking gun. One thing that's in trouble because the commissioners are not getting enough, according to them, of the ISF money. They're not getting enough. There's not enough ISF money for them because it may affect their travel, like Simon Hare going to Washington, D.C. We've been telling you this all along, but now they confirm this. Simon Hare may not be able to go to as many meetings in Washington, D.C. Remember when he came back, I said, I was wrong. I said, we're never going to hear a report from this guy. Oh, we heard a report from this guy, and he said that when he went to Washington, D.C., 1, nothing happened. 2, he didn't bring back anything. 3, they're not really paying attention. Oh, I'm so glad he went to Washington, D.C. Why did he go?
Well, because they still had some money left over in the ISF fund from the the animal control levy. So
they were just saying this kind of thing today. Now, here's the other part. They were talking about their budget inside the commissioner's office, and they have their head administrative assistant secretary come and talk with them, right? Oh, well, we're going to I don't know what we're going to do about this. We may need to cut back on our hours at the front window. And Simon Harris says, it just seems too bad that people come here, they come on maybe their lunchtime, and they have important questions. If you've got important questions, don't go to the commissioners. But okay, they come to the commissioners, and they've got important questions to ask, and it's closed at lunchtime. Now, why would you think, if you were interested in public service, you would close at 2, let's say, to have your lunch, or you would stagger your lunches? Gee, what a concept. So that you'd be open when the people want to come in and ask questions. Oh, no, they must all go at the same time, and then the dang office is closed from 12 to 1 when you have your lunchtime. Okay.
Well,
that's public service, right?
They're probably researching stuff too at the same time.
Oh man, they're researching about a ham sandwich. So here's the thing. So they were saying, well, we may need to be open less hours because the amount of ISF money that we have. Aha! We kept telling you. That's what this ISF money is for. It's so the commissioners, no, not so they take it and put it in their pockets. We don't have any evidence of that. But because they want to have really terrific laptops, Simon Hare was talking about a thing on the wall that would keep track of all their activities that they want to do, and it would need to, it can't be a dry erase marker. What, are you kidding me? It can't be one of those. It needs to be electronic. And I think that was shot down because Keith Heck doesn't understand how to operate any of this kind of stuff, okay? So they almost were going to do that. And then Cheryl Walker says, well, maybe they shouldn't get as many hours. And they're looking at her like, well, they only pay 58 cents. See, they forget the camera's there.
Yeah.
We deserve this because we only pay 58 cents.
Yeah, perhaps they were feeling a little fatigued.
The thing is that their real attitudes came out yesterday with Keith Heck against Judy Ahrens. He almost had this. It almost was, well, we're not going to let you put up, there's a dry erase marker board again. We're not going to allow you to do that. And she's like, well, why? And then he turns mean. He could have pulled that. I even got a call from Bill Meyer today from KMED. He says he saw this video, and we didn't even send it to him, and he saw it. And he said, but why didn't Keith Heck stop earlier? I mean, if he had just said the first part, okay, you can now speak, Judy, but you can't hold anything up. Well, the reason you have to hold it up, I mean, let's not be stupid. It was going to be a sign that says, if you can't hear this, here's the number to call. Well, you can't
Yeah.
say it, because if you say it and they can't hear it, that doesn't do. You have to hold up something. But he
Yeah.
wasn't having that. As soon as he saw what it said, no, no, you can't speak about anything. Well, not about anything now. Go sit down, sit down, sit down. She's like, well, wait a minute. I did have something to say. No, sit down. I'm telling you to sit down. See, then you turn mean all of a sudden. You get a chance to see Cheryl Walker, what she's really like, and Keith Hick, what they're really like when their defenses are down a little bit, and they forget the camera's there or anybody sitting there, and they just come out like, they're not public servants.
Yes, unfortunately.
But that's not news. Okay, let's talk about the news. So today, at the administration session, the first thing that happened is legal counsel came in, and he talked about some coordination letters, finally, coordination letters written to the BLM and to the Forest Service from the commissioners. Now, we don't get a chance to see these ahead of time and say we like this or don't like that, or can I suggest changing this, because they would never share such a thing with us. First, they're going to sign the dang letter, and then maybe they're going to tell us that they did, but you'll never get a chance to see what our official county representatives are going to say to the BLM and Forest Service. If that's an important issue today to you, you can forget about ever seeing it before they've already written it and send it off. But that's nice, right?
Yes. This is why
Forget
you
about
need
it.
to be a little bit more choosy when you pick who's going to be your public servant.
Well, see, what I would do if I was in there is everything that crossed my desk, every email, every phone call, it'd be too much information, but we'd put it on a special website. You would see every draft resolution. You would see every draft anything. Oh, no, as they say, the citizens would be confused when you have draft written across it. No, we're not going to get confused. It says draft. Okay, that's not confusing. Well, actually, the problem is it's sharing too much information with you. The citizens will know all of our secrets. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be doing the people's business, but I guess you forgot.
You're supposed to be a public servant. Well, okay. Then, but the place this time, usually there's just a couple of people. There's me with the camera. I'm always there. And then there's a couple of people from the various departments. J.J. Schofield is always there asking for more money for people or increases or raises from the magical budget. And it's always approved because it's in the magical budget. Oh, we're at fingertips. We're at fingernails. No, but let's give people some raises. He's always willing to do that. They're always willing to say yes. They say to him, is this in the budget? He always says, yes, it is. It's in the budget. Okay, let's pass another one. More raises for
So
people.
wait a minute.
More people. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
So
getting
wait a
there.
minute. Did that happen today?
It did happen today, and I'm going to get there. I'm getting there.
Okay,
Slow.
for crying out loud!
All right, but the place is it's packed full of people. There's truly standing room. People are sitting on the floor. People are standing in the hallway. All these people are not there for the coordination letters. They are there because of what the commissioners called a draft resolution that's supposed to be sent off to Salem, telling them what we think about the Second Amendment and background checks for firearm purchases.
Mm.
Now, a guy stops me out in the hallway and says, well, I really think that he's a Keith Hick supporter, big time. And he says, well, I think it makes some sense to have a background check. And I say, look, there isn't anybody that I know of that's saying you shouldn't have a background check in case bad guys are trying to buy weapons. What they're talking about is exchange. Let's suppose that you're at a firing range. I don't go there very often, but let's suppose you're at a firing range, and the way this is written, it really does seem like, according to the exact wording of the law, that you cannot loan your weapon to the guy next to you to use it because that's a transfer. Right.
Yes,
and that's the way it's written. There, see, the devil is always in the details.
Yeah.
Of course we want felons to have to pass a... We're not all stupid, okay? But the other thing is, let's suppose that there's a friend of yours that's going hunting. Whatever you feel about hunting, your friend is going hunting. You loan them your rifle. Well, you've just made a transfer, according to the way this law is written.
Yeah.
That's why people are against it, not this other stupid canard, this Cheryl Walker straw man. Well, that's a good thing that we. No, no, you're looking at it all wrong. You're not understanding what these guys are saying to you, and whether you're a firearm enthusiast or not, that's stupid.
Yeah. Well, you know what? These, and this is something that comes up fairly regularly, but these types of things, especially when it comes to Second Amendment issues, are written in a purposely vague manner. And the reason why they are is because they're trying to take one chip out of the granite boulder. And it sounds conspiracy theory, obsession, but in reality, what's going on is people that push this stuff. They don't want the Second Amendment. They don't want you having guns, so they're gonna chip away at it and chip away at it and chip away at it. And so anyway, that's my commentary. It has nothing to do with what you were talking about.
Oh no, that's fine. That's half of the reason for this show is so that you can say such kind of ridiculous things. So
Right. Yes.
The people were there, and they were crowded in there. And before we went in, I'm sitting next to one of these guys, and I said, "What do you think they're going to be talking about today?" "Oh, they'll be talking about a new ordinance for fire." I said, "No, they're not going to talk about an ordinance." "Yes, yes, they're going to talk about an ordinance, and you just don't understand." "I don't understand what the commissioners are doing." I'm like, okay. And so we get in there, and they're talking about a resolution. They're talking
Right.
about a letter. Okay. Now,
Yes.
what was it that Simon Hare recently said about resolutions? Mike Jones.
I don't know.
Resolutions don't mean anything.
Okay.
Yeah, according to Simon Hare.
I don't remember hearing him say that. When did he say that?
He's been saying that for a while, but he said it as recently as a week ago. Resolutions don't mean anything. And the reason that Simon was giving for not having a resolution about this issue is because it's just a letter saying this is what we think. And it's just one step ahead of a proclamation saying it's County Cat Week
Right.
once again. And so he says, well, why would we do this? It could potentially cause harm, and let's just not do it because it's already in the charter. Why are we bothering with this? Resolutions don't mean anything. So what'd they get today? A resolution, woohoo! And they started walking out, and I walked out into the hallway. I left the camera running, dangerous because it could burst into flames. I left the camera running, and I went while they were talking about something else, and I went out there, and people saw me. "Hey, Dale, how's it going? I'm so glad you come to the meetings." I said, "Who here?" I was a little tough on him. I said, "Who here believes that a resolution is an ordinance?" "Well, yeah." And I said, "And do you remember when Simon Hare said a resolution means nothing?" "Well, yeah, but thanks for what you do, Dale."
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, none of these counties that are considering this are passing ordinances. They're all passing. They're all, producing resolutions. That's all they're doing. It's just a statement of support. And you know what? I guess that's meaningful to some of these people, and I don't have any problem with it one way or the other. But I
Well,
don't
what
know.
about the guy out in the hallway that's having an argument with me? Explain to me why I'm a dunce, because I don't understand that they're actually going to be doing an ordinance today. Okay, well, that's
Well,
just
and
misinformed.
okay, now you've touched a button that is very clear, because I post a lot of these shows on social media, and some of the feedback that I get is like, yeah, well, you guys, blah blah blah, you guys, this is all propaganda, whatever. But in the meantime, they couldn't tell me one meaningful thing about what is happening in local government here, because they don't follow it at all, and yet somehow they're
Experts.
an expert
Right.
on what propaganda is as it relates to local government here. It's really silly.
Well, and the other thing that's got to be confusing for people is if you listen to the county commissioners, especially Cheryl Walker, putting a spin on things, oh, up is down and right is left and all the rest of this, then of course you're going to be somewhat confused. Like, didn't Cheryl just say that hearsay is something that happened a long time ago? Is that right? Do bears live young?
Mm.
And so they're it's got to be a little confusing. And then you got these two, guys that come on and they say, well, we think we understand what's happening, but we're not entirely sure, because all we can do is go off of the information that's available to anybody that's there all the time. And then you hear
Right.
Simon Hare say, well, that Dale, in a public meeting, that Dale Matthews doesn't know anything. And then he's out on the sidewalk with us, and what did he say about me being right or wrong? What did he say?
He said most of the time. I don't
75%
remember.
of the time,
Yeah,
Dale's right. And the other
I
bit
didn't.
of the time, I just don't agree with him.
Yeah, I didn't remember the percentage. But so, I mean, go figure that people's perceptions may be askew a bit.
Uh-huh. And we just ran into this just 2 days ago, where the sheriff is saying that all these numbers now that are available to us finally from the FBI, well, they don't really mean very much about the crime rate going down, not because we know better when we're on the street, not because we're here in place. These are good arguments. We're here in place and we know more than some distant FBI guys, based on your statistics, by the way. But we really need to go with our gut feeling.
Yes. What and what he said is perception is reality. So
That's
if
what he
people
said.
if people aren't feeling safe, well, we need to fix that by you giving us some money.
But
Well,
why aren't they feeling safe? Because you're telling them you're not safe. It's
that's
daily. You
right.
just go to Cajo and it's
That's
there
right.
all the time. Nothing but crime, 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 crime everywhere you go. No wonder they have this perception, because you're telling them that that's the case.
But the numbers don't support
The
it.
numbers don't support it. That's
But
right.
today on KJO, I heard the sheriff say, well, perception, well, for many people, perception is reality. So we need to change so somehow I'm thinking, okay, what you're talking about is something false. It doesn't exist. But we're going to make people feel better by passing this thing. And they pretty much admit we're not really going to get any more patrols out of this. So maybe people will feel a little bit safer because we have more money.
Oh, this is like Sally Struthers, whoever, coming on late night TV, and you can feed the children. Now, whether that money ever goes to children or if it goes to some African dictator doesn't make any difference, because you feel better that you don't have to go to Africa. Please, God.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me in your own voice that I must go to Africa and ladle soup, because I'm going to go, but I don't want to do that. I mean that. Please don't tell me that. So I feel better if I give money to something, even if I'm not sure where the money's going to go. I just feel a little bit better. Oh, I've saved a
Right.
child's life, when maybe it's all BS.
Right. And the thing is that when they vote for it, they're going to get, they're going to get rewarded with, people saying, oh, yes, yeah, you did the right thing. That was wonderful. Things are going to be better now. Of course, they'll be asking for more not far down the road.
Well,
But
as I often say, if you can't make up your mind, and I can understand why, about which is the right thing to do, more money for law enforcement. I want more money for law enforcement, of course, but I want to make sure they're actually getting it, okay? And so if you wonder about, what decisions should I make, all that you need to do is see who's lying to you that's associated with one side or another, and don't vote for the liars. Now, if you think it's Mike, you could be right, but more likely is going to be the people who ask you to sign something and say there's no ISF. That's a lie. Or the people to say, well, there's going to be patrols. That's a lie. Or you need to do this because the governor's coming down here tomorrow if you don't. It's a lie. Don't give money to liars. That's all.
That was another one of the points that they made, that there's something in the works that if we don't do this, then ultimately what's going to happen is the state government is going to come and impose a $2 tax on all of us, and whether we like it or not. And guess what? When they do that, it will be less efficient than if you had given us the $2.
They're actually saying the commissioners are actually trying to say, or the supporters are saying, that they're sure that the county government is going to be efficient. How many examples have we given you on just on this show of how they're not efficient at all? Just look at 214 full-time jobs for $50,000 out at IV for building a wheelchair ramp or a couple of ramps. Just look at the decisions they made with the Mark Von Holly contract. Well, I don't want to actually do it. I want to say that I'm going to think about doing it. And then the Courier writes it up as he's actually going to do it. That came out of nowhere. That's completely made up by Jim Moore, okay, from the Daily Courier. They're lying to us. And whether I think the sheriff should get more money or not, I am not giving money to people who lie to me. Not going to do it. I don't want to give them 10%. Well, I don't want to give them 10 cents.
Yeah, and I don't blame you there. It's this. I'm not convinced of their story. I don't know that there's any plan of the state to come in here and impose a tax and have the state police take over public safety in our area. But that's what they're saying. Go and listen to the KJO podcast right now. It's up from the show that took place today, and they also say, well, the ISF, that's the most efficient means of administrating their little department there. I don't buy into that. And they also, and this idea, this perception thing is really goofy. It's a sticking point for me.
That one's really bothering you, isn't it? The perception.
Yeah, because it's based on a falsehood that contradicts the numbers, and I have a problem with that.
Well, where did we? As I asked them. A lot of people have watched this show. You really need to go back 2 days and watch that show. Watch the show from Tuesday night. But just a second, something fell over here. One of the points that I said to him is, now, where are they getting this perception? Could it possibly come from something like the last sheriff who told us that 9% of the homes in the entire county have been broken into since he didn't pass the last levy? He later admitted this was completely false. So where do you think we're getting our perception? I even had the perception that crime is increasing until I looked at the numbers. Look, the numbers are almost as reliable as the videotape. The videotape is ultimately reliable because despite what Keith tried to tell you, the videotape is not going to insert words into your mouth. It just doesn't do that, okay? So these numbers are based on things that are being reported here, and the FBI compiles them. And what I said to somebody else recently is I said, look, what do you mean they're underreporting? Because really you're going to have your car stolen and you're not going to report it to the insurance company because you're mad at the police? You're underreporting to your own insurance company?
Well, and not only that, see, they also say that we are less safe, but violent crime is down. There are three types of crime. It was personal crime, which I think is the violent crime thing, and then there were property crimes, and then something else. I forget what that was.
Crimes by the commissioners. Yeah.
Right. But essentially, property crime is the thing that we're having a big issue with, and the violent crime is actually down. What they're saying, though, is that you're not safe. Well, somebody stealing my kid's trike out of the driveway is a bummer, but it's not making me less safe. And I just, you know what? And that may be splitting hairs for people, but you know what? They are using hyperbole. They are using fear. They're to create this perception of me being unsafe that is going to make me want to vote for the levy. And that's
what better way to foster what you want to happen, which is people raise their own property taxes, than making a grand announcement, which they do all the time. Nobody's going to investigate theft. Hello, nobody's going to investigate theft. Now what? Okay, so first of all, it makes us feel nervous. But what's the other? Who receives that message also?
Yes.
Thieves receive the message. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're not going to investigate it if you steal something. By the way, I hope that you're not feeling unsafe, everybody. What?
Well, and you know what they say, you guys not supporting law enforcement here is making people not want to move here. Well, maybe you saying that the place is unsafe and people are running around murdering and stealing from everybody, maybe that's what makes people not want to come here.
No,
It's
no,
not
it's badcounty.com. Cheryl Walker
well,
told us all that the reason that people aren't moving here is because of
yes,
badcounty.com. The
but
show.
the point that I was trying to make
Yes.
is that the numbers do not support the assertion that somehow we're living in the Wild West here.
The numbers don't support it. And the people who think that the numbers support that are mostly from inside the city where, according to the city, there's plenty of money for law enforcement. But
Right.
those are the ones that are really much higher than the county's rates. So over in Jackson County, where they say they've got plenty of money, their crime rate's higher than ours. Second highest in the country. Somebody was saying, I don't know if that's true. That's probably hyperbole. But the point is that it, I think the sheriff is right. It is based on perception, but it's based on perception that they're pushing because they
Yes.
want the money. And honestly, I know this puts me in a minority with a lot of people watching this show. I don't mind the sheriff getting more money, but I would like him to spend part of it on theft. Hello, this levy will not spend any more money on investigating property crimes, on theft, none, zero, and almost nothing for patrols. So you're going to be voting for this for what reason? Those are supposedly the two highest problems, and you're going to feel better that you're putting money into things that you don't need. I don't understand this. Why would anyone vote for this? Except in the city where their perception is they're being cheated by us county residents who simply won't vote for more money so they could end up in the commissioner's office. They just admitted today, they admitted on a camera that maybe they're going to cut back on the hours available to the citizens because they're not getting enough ISF money. That's the skimmed part off the top. The thing they say doesn't make any difference. The thing they say is, oh, it's not 10%, it's 1/2 of 1%. Stop voting for things where people are lying to you. Just don't do that. Say no to liars. Just say no.